So friends, let us shift right now into another gear. Issues that we're facing, and bringing ourselves, if we can, to the centered place that all of us, would like to be able to face these issues from. Is that not so? To face the issues that confront us from a sense of the center, the core, with some peace. Let us invite you right now to close your eyes. It always helps to close our eyes when we meditate, at least partly, because otherwise the eyes tend to steal our attention. That's what they call it in Zen. They call the eyes thieves. That takes our attention always to other objects, to what's on the seemingly outside. So now I invite us to focus attention instead on one object, on the breath. Allowing your attention to move into your own natural breath. And if it helps you to place a hand on your belly, this is just fine. Noticing the inhale and the belly extends. And the exhale. And the belly flattens out and drops. Watching your breath in any place that you prefer. It might be at the nose, the nasal passage. It might be in the chest. Or then in the belly. Just breathing naturally. And for now, intend to allow your attention to rest right there in just that one spot. The touch sensation of the breath at the nasal passage. Or the rise and fall of the breath in the chest. Or the belly. The in-breath, the belly rises. And with the out-breath, the exhale, the belly falls. A gentle rhythm. And of course, when thoughts arise and divert your attention or try to, the guideline, of course, is allow the thoughts simply to pass gently. Turn the attention back to the breath. rising and falling. The breath. Our intention is to allow it to be the sole object of our awareness at this time. And when other objects intrude, like a thought or an emotion, for right now, letting them go, the thoughts will return, the emotions will return. But for right now, resting with one object only, the breath. Which is always with us. We befriend it with this gentle attention as it moves rhythmically. The rhythm of our own breath. Noticing with some subtlety when just a wisp of thought arises. This is not about failure. It's not about being an inadequate meditator. It's about being present to the breath, gently. this, to make a shift with our attention. And instead of focusing on the object of the breath, allowing your attention to move back away from the breath, allowing it to rest in that placeless place of no object. Seeing for yourself what a really simple move this is. Words or the point guidance may sound off-putting, difficult, but the actual doing of it is so very simple. It is stepping back with the breath, from the breath, and resting in what is always present. That placeless place of no objects. And of course, for most of us, the mind is going to jump around, the monkey mind. Thoughts will arise. Recognizing this isn't a problem. All we need to do is to gently shift attention, shift gears. And step back. Rest in this place of no objects. This open place that just is. This is a place that is so close to you, that you know so well, each of us knows so well, that we often ignore it. It's that space between thoughts. Always there. no need for a special feeling, no need for a sense of bliss or happiness. It is just quietness, stillness, isness. This is the place we rest in when we do nothing, make no effort. And we find it's right there for us. It's right there for us because it is us. It is you. It is me. It is home. And even if you can stay in this placeless place, home, for a few seconds, it is not a problem if thoughts keep coming up. Each time, noticing, and then returning home. returning to the silence that you most essentially are. This silence is always there for you, no matter what circumstances surround you, whether they're pleasant or unpleasant, something you love or don't. Always, in the midst of it all, there's this. So, friends, this was a meditation that we moved into first from a meditation with an object, the breath. The mind loves objects, and we can focus our attention on just one object, the breath. And then we moved into objectless meditation, that is just being with our own natural silence. I've been offering a series of talks called What I Wish I'd Been Told, a map of the spiritual journey. And these talks are progressive. One builds on the other. This is right now talk number 5 of what will be 6 talks. Part of which builds up to the fact that if you haven't listened to the others, you might find some of these and some of what I'll be talking about tonight a little bit, maybe not understandable, a little confusing. So I'm saying, please listen with your heart rather than with your mind tonight, and just allow whatever sinks in to do that. Tonight's talk is called Living Full Circle. And what I am hoping is, whether you have listened to any of the other talks or not, all of us here, as I've said before, we are spiritual seekers. You would not be here spending an evening here unless that was true, unless you had questions of some sort. It doesn't matter where you think you are on this journey. The fact is, you're on it and you're here. So again, hoping that you will listen just with your heart. What sinks in, wonderful. What doesn't, that's fine. Some other time it'll catch up with you, I hope. So this one is Living Full Circle. And so far, what I've done, or what I am doing, is talking about the spiritual journey based on my own experience and on interactions with others. This is not intellectual so much as experiential. And I have identified so far 3 different, what I think of as phases of the spiritual journey. The first phase, which we all know, questioning. We wonder, what's it all about? You know, not everybody does that. You know, a lot of people will simply accept and not really question, not be bothered with it. All of us are here because we have asked questions. That's phase 1, the opening. And then a second phase, and I don't want to get too rigid about this, but the second phase is glimpsing our awakening to our true nature. Glimpsing or awakening to our true nature. Lots of people here, a lot of you I know have glimpsed. I was just talking to somebody a few minutes ago. This feeling like, oh, I'm here. It feels like home. It feels so familiar. I've been in a place where we often think we haven't been there before, but in fact, we all have been there many, many times. It's what's there between thoughts, which we don't notice, but that's it. So this is glimpsing and awakening. Awakening enables us is a radical change in perspective about what the world is about, what reality is about. In our traditional culture, our conventional culture, we think reality is a past, a present, a future, as I've already talked about. What we awaken to, or even before that, catch glimpses of, is, wait a minute, there's more to this story about reality than we talk about in our culture. There's something else, something bigger, something we can't quite name. But actually right now I'm going to give a lot of names for it. I've done this many times. You've heard a lot of them before, but I'll say it again. It can be true nature, our natural awareness, our consciousness, our divine mystery, our love, the beloved, awareness, all of them finally are pointers. The words don't matter. And I'm mentioning all of these because it's so easy for our mind to grab onto the one that we understand, that resonates with us, and anything else is, well, the mind turns off. Please, this is an invitation for us to be flexible when we hear words and try to understand what the words are pointing to, what's behind them, or you might say the silence within them, rather than the word itself. Don't let them turn you off. We need to get bigger than the words, than the vocabulary. So this is what we awaken to. It's an experience, or a set of experiences. I'm trying to say it's not an intellectual thing. It is a shift in perspective. And so this is phase 2. Glimpses of this, which has no name finally, are actually awakening to the meaning of it. Once that has happened, what we begin to do as we glimpse or awaken, we begin to realize there's a whole new beginning afterwards, a whole new way of being in this world after that happens. Again, not intellectual. There's something within you that shifts, and you're being called to something new, to live in the world with a recognition that it is far bigger, far more mysterious, and more wonderful. Even the things that are horrible are all part of it. So that is phase 3. Now, in the past few talks, I've been talking about different aspects of the third phase of awakening, that time after awakening. The time after we awaken, we begin to get glimpses of it, and then we awaken. We're then called to do something else. We're called on to integrate our life into, to align ourselves with what we have awakened to. This is really significant. We align ourselves with it. That becomes a practice or a non-practice. I have discussed before, but I want to speak again about what this means about aligning with what you are glimpsing or awakening to. It is about coming back, bringing the mind back to that place of silence. Because whatever word you use for it, that's the core. It is that silence which is the heart of who you are, that usually in our everyday busy lives, we overlook, we bypass, we're too busy. But it never leaves you. We can't be so good that we will get it, or can't be so bad that we'll lose it. It's not about good or bad. None of that. It is simply truth always. We awaken to it. And after we awaken to it, even when we glimpse it, what we can then do and are really called to do is to keep coming back to it. You do know it. And I can see you sit there and say, I don't think I know it. Well, I will say, you do, because you are it. This sounds so crazy, I know, when we listen to this with a conventional mind, it's like, oh, really? But you are it, and that's what we're finding out. This is what we're all about, finding out what you truly are. And in fact, what you know already, but the mind does not want to agree to that, because the mind can't grasp it. It's something that is beyond the mind. So, what we do in this third phase, the phase after awakening, is we continue to come back. I'm poem by Rumi, a quatrain. He said, "Sometimes you hear a voice through the door calling you, like a fish out of water hears the waves. Like a fish out of water hears the waves. Come back, come back. This turning toward what you truly love saves you." That's it. Come back, come back. And so that's what I was inviting you to do today in this meditation. Come back. When thoughts come up, come back. Now, I have let me say, first of all, usually teachers in our tradition and in many traditions don't talk about it. Scriptures don't necessarily talk about it. It's often seems like awakening is the end, like everything happens. If you awaken, fine, that's the end of the story. If you awaken to this other dimension of life, to this reality of what you are, no more needs to be said. That's wrong. A lot more needs to be said and done. Why? Because when we awaken, a whole new understandings and realities begin to flow through. It's like a doorway has opened for you. But it isn't enough simply to allow this to happen naturally without doing something about it afterwards. Let me explain. A doorway has opened, something new. You see a new dimension to what life is about. But unless you undertake an effective practice or non-practice at this time, the awakening will remain within you, but the freshness will fade. And over time, unless you do something, and I'm going to explain what you can do, over time, unless you do something, you will fall back into your conditioned ways of beings. All those things that you are now recognizing, we all recognize as practitioners about ourselves, will fall back into the same old patterns. So what is there to do? What there is to do is what I call it the 4 R's. A lot of teachers who talk about the time after awakening talk about it in one way or another. I call it 4 R's. You're in the middle of your day. Remember. Just what I was inviting you to do during our meditation today. Remember what you truly are. Come back to the silence. Return. Remember is one. Return is the second step. Rest there for as long as you can. And I mean the mind, the heart. Let it rest in silence. And it may be only a split second. Maybe no longer than that. No problem. Because the fourth step is return. Return, return, return again and again. So again, remembering, which may be the hardest of them all, because when we get involved with something, who wants to pull out? It's a shift. And that's what you're being invited to do. Shift. Remember what you truly know. Return to it and rest there, just for a split second or longer if it stays. And then after it goes, come back again during the day. Do it repeatedly. So that's the expanded version of the practice or non-practice. The short version is just return repeatedly. Sometimes it helps to break it down, but just return repeatedly to what you already know. As I said, there is a problem if you don't. And the problem is again, that you won't, it's not that you're going to forget what you have seen, but you'll fall back into conditioned ways and may even recondition new conditioned ways, new behaviors that are simply rote. And I will just tell you my own experience. Those of you who were here in earlier talk that I gave know that I had a sudden awakening when I was in my early 20s. But that was one long time ago. And that was before there were teachers and books. That was that long ago. So I had no idea that there was anything to do. In fact, I remember thinking at one point, I guess everybody gets one of these a lifetime. I mean, and that didn't make sense to me, but I was trying to explain it in my mind. So I did nothing about the awakening, and there were tremendous changes that happened to me. But over time, and there was time, it was 20 years, I lived. I got married, we lived on a farm, had animals. I loved it. And during those 20 years, something was building, and I know in hindsight, something was building for me. And it was a sense of spiritual urgency. I could never have said those words. I had no idea. But I remember toward the last 4 or 5 years of that, I started writing poetry. And I ended up writing a poem that took 4 years, and it was 24 pages. And it was a poem of awakening, although I would not have been able to say that. It was simply happening. And then that was 20 years. In retrospect, I know that I was being readied. I didn't do anything, but the time came 20 years later that it with a capital I, came for me again. And there was another awakening. And the first time, as I've told you, was pretty difficult. But this time was just sublime. It was wonderful. And I take it, as I see in retrospect, is because I had been being processed, being readied in some way. And then I knew, came the stunning recognition 20 years later, there was such a thing as practice. Now that sounds just like out from nowhere. We know that practice is just so common, everybody knows that now, but I didn't. And that's when I knew I had to go into practice, and I had to do a lot of other things differently in my life. In short, what I was guided to without even having the words or the guidance from anyone else, I was beginning to align and integrate my life into the awakening that I had experienced. So this is my experience. Everybody's experience is different. We're all unique. We are all where we need to be. And it's only from that place that it's going to happen. It can't happen if you hop, skitch, and say, oh, I need to be over there. Nope, you need to be right here, as for each of us. So for those of us, like us who are here, who have a practice already, I think there's another variation or scenario on this awakening. It is important to recognize the practice you need to use this practice I've just discussed of integrating and aligning, not to dismiss mindfulness or any of the other practices that you have had in the past or do. All are good, but the most effective practice after awakening is to align with what you have awakened to. As you begin doing that, that's when, remember, I quoted Zen Master Shunryu Suzuki a few talks ago, and he said this path consists of 1,000 little moments that make one dance. And this is what begins to happen. 1,000 little moments that make one dance when you begin aligning with your life and integrating into what you have awakened to. And it becomes a joy. And I last time referred to a YouTube tape by Alan Watts, an 18-minute tape. At the end of this talk, Brianna is going to put that back up on the screen because it's really an important. He talks about 7 things that spiritually awakened people quit slowly. It's not quit like that, but it is just gently recognizing where you need, how you need to direct your life. It's important. I won't talk about it here. I'm not going to talk about the other joys that happen, but I know some of you have experienced it. They can't be expressed. We each experience them differently. But here's where we come to finally the topic of tonight's talk, which is living full circle. Because eventually, as you live into what you're being called to, this what you have are glimpsing and awakening, as you live into that, there's a stunning recognition that, wait a minute, it's not just me, it's part of an expression of what is inexpressible. Everything in this world is an expression of what is inexpressible as well. We are all connected. We're all related on this profound, not only related, we are connected in this profound way. We all share the nature of being, all of us. That means all. The people you like and those you do not like. And I think we all can think of some individuals at this point very quickly. All of us share our being. Awakening and shared being is not limited just to those that we feel a connection with on the everyday level. This is love. That is the love that Rumi was calling to. Turning toward what you truly love saves you. This is what he's talking about. That does not mean, of course, that we have to be nice to everybody. It means that we are real. We recognize the connection, the love that joins all of us. And we participate in the world, in the life, as we individually are called, according to our character, to participate, to take action. Everybody's different. It might be something in social active action. It might be a musician, an electrician, whatever. It is done from the love and the understanding. It is lived from the love and understanding that you have experienced, that you know. So this is living full circle. Because before this, what we do is we live in this world as isolated individuals. We feel apart. We often feel alienated, basically. We have realized when we awaken, as we glimpse and awaken, that we're all part of each other. We glimpse it not as an ideal, but as an experience. You know it intrinsically. And so that is what we live from, that knowing, that understanding, and that loving. That's living full circle. So it is right now, just about 16 after, and I'd like to stop now. Oh, I wanted to say something else. Yeah, Brianna, I've asked her if she'd put on the up on our screen here. If you would like to hear these other talks, our preceding talks that I've given, or any talks that any of the teachers have given, Brianna has created a new way that we can do it. We can go up to our website on Dharma Talk Archives and look at usually on the YouTube channel, and you'll get all the talks chronologically way back to the early ancient days. Or you can, and Brianna has it up there now, let's see. Or you go to our website, meditation.org, Dharma Talk Archive, and then when you get to Dharma Talk Archive, there is on the right-hand side top, it says, follow IMCC on YouTube. Click that, and then there are a few options that you'll see right there. You can click on either podcasts or the teacher's name. Podcasts and playlists, and then you'll see the teacher's name and their talks. So it's an easier way of accessing rather than going chronologically down. So Brianna, many thanks for doing that. I think that's really wonderful. And she's, I think, also got Alan Watts, the reference. I highly recommend it. Some people have told me how much it was useful to read that. 7 Things Spiritually Awake People Quit Slowly.